Okay, this is the committee of the curriculum and instruction, and it is November 11th, 6 o'clock. In attendance, Julia Olafson,
Steve Miller.
Mike Wolf.
Brett Cooper.
Bob Hurley.
Chelsea Serafino.
all right. So, and it's not overly full. Last month was chock full. So we'll go ahead and get started.
Nothing to vote directly on tonight. Just want to update you. We had a meeting with the YMCA partnership for summer program. You know, we've tried for 5 years to launch late summer, things like that. It would ebb and flow. We had one summer where everything went well, and then it kind of waned. Really because of our lack of attendance, not enough people to keep it moving. So the YMCA reached out to Dr. Cooper, passed it to me, and I met with them. Let's say last Thursday, could have been Friday. Had a conversation. They have some ideas regarding camps and the camp model that they, proven and used many places. They have a variety of options. They've asked if we would run basically a survey to the community to see if there's an interest to operate these kind of camps. So that's I just wanted to get it in front of you for early discussion. We're starting to have this conversation. I think it would be a value add since we don't quite have enough people for oversight of running camps. They assume all the costs. They will rent it for us from the Category C rental, facility fee. And then if we feel like basically there's an interest from the community and the Category C, then we'll get into the negotiation of really how much money we can and will. Because they work all kinds of profit models with other districts. One of the conversations we had, I asked, well, how long? Like, are these one-off, one-week camps? And they said, well, they have all kinds of opportunities, but they're looking at full summer camp for the duration of the summer, and they're very accustomed to working on maintenance schedules, so they're out of the way, cleaning and repairing buildings. The two locations I touched base with both principals that we think are more optimal than others would be the IC because of nature trail and the pavilion back there in that field. Sometimes they do need inside facility if the weather's bad or for lunch, extremely hot. Also the middle school, I talked to Jenny because of the relationship of the grounds around the middle school. So those are the two areas we're kind of in very preliminary conversation.
Okay, and you said that they're looking for putting out a survey to the community to see if a full summer program is what we're looking for, or maybe
or
something different. Okay.
Right. So I asked them for a roughly 5 to 10 question survey, and I would put it into our survey monkey and shoot it out. That they would drive the questions because they have a vetted model that they're looking to replicate in all these locations. So.
Okay.
What kind of camp do they run? I mean, I think it's a day camp. But
Yeah, it's not a sports-based camp. It's an activities-based camp with a whole week. And they take a lot of, once a week they take a day trip. They'll go to the aquarium or they'll go to the museum. And then the rest of the time are crafts, activities. They play sports, like pick up, kind of organized structure. So one day kickball, another day.
Is what they're looking at similar to what they had done in the past here at this school
I'm not
district?
familiar with what they've done here, so.
Okay, because what they did in the past, it was the week school ended, there was no camp, and then the 4th of July there was no camp. But other than that, there was camp,
Yes.
and like 1 week, my kids went to see two G-rated movies at the theater. One time they went to like Dorney Park. One time they went to a dairy. Like a creamery,
Right.
Watch ice cream being made.
That's the sense I have.
That's the kind of thing. And then
we touch base on clearances and clearance issues, so all their folks go through the same process or level of clearances that our folks generally go through.
yeah, they used to go to French Creek State Park pool once a week if the weather permitted. Yeah. So at least that's what they'd done in the past, and that was run by the YMCA because that's who I wrote the check out to.
So this is the YMCA really the origination came from, I think, Dr. Cooper, Philadelphia, where we got the first contact from, with Boyertown and the Pottstown, that
Right, Freedom Valley is,
Freedom.
yeah, and And I know that when they stopped being individual and came together, there are there's the one out of Philly that's called something else. I don't know if that's Greater Philadelphia area, YMCA, and then Freedom Valley goes all the way out to, I think, Royersford. Yeah.
Well, the neat thing that is Megan Doherty, I say her name, Dr. Doherty, she's a Boone graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And she does live in this community, but she is the key liaison for the Y.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's kind of nice. She knows our community.
Yeah.
She has been a graduate, and so anytime we can do that, I always like that.
16 lines.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So, just FYI, more to come.
Yeah.
Conversation. I just want to give you that. You see something come out, you know where it's coming from, what's coming.
If we can get our ducks in a row, is the plan to get a pilot program started for this summer?
Yes, they would love to. I told them we would have this conversation tonight, and then we'd follow up with them. They'd love to be able to get the survey out in December,
Okay.
and then we'd be able to have some information and understanding to look at their part of their survey and research community helps them craft a marketing model to go out, and they would be pushing that and looking to push it out in January because they know people go on vacations and start setting their plans.
Yeah.
What's the distribution model? How do they get their survey out?
It'll come from us. We will push it out through the district, through our survey.
Like a Tuesday folder, like that kind of thing?
We'll probably go out to the Blackboard Connect model and that tool outright to the parents. I mean, this will just be electronic, so they can then go on, respond. Now, once the brochures and those sign-up things come up, that's the next step. And they have moved very progressively. Why's huge and powerful as an organization, and they have a lot of technology in their hands. So, like I said, we'll find out more once you guys kind of are if you're comfortable. I don't know that it's a board vote.
I would assume.
Go ahead.
I would assume that the survey would go out just to elementary parents. Is that
they
the
actually
plan?
have some older camp.
Oh, they do?
As well.
So up to middle school then.
Yeah. Oh, for sure through middle school. And they,
Okay.
The interesting thing at the high school level is kids. They have some leadership elements that they're trying to evolve.
Mhm.
So they have a leadership camp part that ties back into their day camp part, and they will be looking to focus our students into the leadership model. There's no charge for those kids to do that. Leadership training with some of their higher end people in terms of development leadership.
Oh, so those would be like learning opportunities
Correct.
for those
kind of
kids.
Apprentice. I
Yeah.
always go back to our apprentice, our internship kind of model, and they feed back into supporting our students.
So it might be more broad based.
That's the sense.
The survey. Okay. All right. Do you need
I don't. It's more
This is
informational for you.
we're informational at this point, right?
I just want you guys not to be caught off guard. There's a survey out there, and people are like, what's going on?
All right.
So, okay, second piece is some of the stuff that's going on with Naviance, which we do have at the high school. Last year, you guys approved that and did the contract. This contract, there's an addendum to the new voting meeting, so that number that you got originally was around 39,000, 38,000.
And it's lower now?
Much lower. And what we did is we went through, and I spent time, I pushed back and then took them to later on Friday to get me the new proposal with the other pieces cut out. I met with Jenny and Aaron, and we looked at, what are the essentials if we're going to roll this out, okay? What are the tools and sometimes they'll upsell you for 5 products in there, and they'll embed those 5 and that cost. And if you don't push back, you get 5 things, well, your team's not ready to use 3 of them, you're only ready for 2. So in our implementation strategy for middle school and plan moving forward, really having give you the Achievement Works and the Naviance for middle school are 2 essential tools for those guys. And I can give you the details on what happens in each one of those things. The high school needs Achievement Works, alumni tracker. One of the things that we want to do, and we feel this is really important, is that we begin to track our alumni after graduation for 1-year persistence and 2-year persistence. And why that's important is it lets us know if we're really doing it fairly well at the high school. So if we send students out to a college and we track them and they went off to a college and within a year they bailed out and it wasn't for them, then we probably didn't do a good enough job helping them search the right fit in high school. So we know, Dr. Cooper's said this on a couple of occasions, that roughly 40 to 50% of the kids who go off to school don't go back for a second year. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but some of it is because they went to school because they really thought that's what they were supposed to do. We didn't really do a solid job aligning them to the right option coming out of high school. This tool will help us do that. It's not tremendously expensive to have. It's $1,200, almost $1,300. All of these tools, the one thing I want you to keep in mind is we used to spend around $6,000 on postage at the high school sending out transcripts and letters and so forth. That's all gone. That's kind of how we funded this last year. We just shifted the postage money over to the Naviance product. And then we got all these other value adds in. So this 3-year contract represents like $29,000. We bring the middle school in as well now. If we were spending $6,000 each year on high school postage, that's 18. So for $11,000, we're getting a significant product for all students 6 through 12. And I think it's a big one. And that takes care of our college career ready. Naviance drives on the chapter 339, which I know you've heard us talk about before. It has all of the embedded curriculums for those things. And it takes us past on chapter 339, college career ready pieces. It takes us, career and college ready pieces, not career. It takes us to past compliance and box checking to something that I think we as a district are proud of in terms of the kind of career development we're helping students with. The high school has a grid of, many activities in there, and many of them spiral. So I'll give you a quick example. Resume writing. Okay, we used to have that in 9th grade, and kids would write a resume. Okay, good, done. Check. Move on. Now, part of the thing is Naviance has a tool where it helps us, and in partnership with our ELA, our English department, they write that resume every year. They rewrite it, they recraft it, because your resume in 9th grade is vastly different than what your resume should look like in 12th grade. And so this is archived inside the tool as well, so the kids have it. They have access, they have templates that we could use. So I could go on and on about why Naviance and all the tools they have. Suffice to say, it's a strong tool. So that's where we're going. You guys are going to be, you don't have to move forward. This conversation has moved forward into committee of the whole tonight for you to vote on that contract. So we kind of already had that at the high school. It's now the extension and doing it 3-year. The value of the 3 years, we're getting 2019 pricing. They told us that year over year their prices go up 5%. Plus we're getting would have been a $1,600 discount on the $39,000. It's $1,100 discount on the $29,000. Additionally, and we're getting the remaining months of the high school contract in a wash. As it all gets, money gets shifted around, basically from April till August 1, it becomes free. There's a contract to sign, but it basically rolled in the cost.
The high school contract that we had before, was that the last
It was a
2
1
year?
year.
It was 1 year,
It was
so
a
it was
1 year
just,
deal.
it was this, it's this school year.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, and this will go August 1, which will then, we can spend down this year's dollars, will be tagged in the next budget. And it will go August 1 to August 1, which is a better roll than we currently have with Naviance. We needed Naviance before the July 1 date next year for training purposes.
At the middle school or for?
No, we did need it at the high school. Now, Mrs. Marsenko is trained. She kind of is our lead person on this.
Okay.
She's the most knowledgeable person about the whole tool. She's trained high school staff, high school counselors, also middle school. She's met with Jenny, so she's one of the most institutional. I was
Okay.
in contact with Naviance.
All right.
Can I ask what the consulting hours are used for?
So what we did, that's, as I used to work in this field, I know that's an embedded area to hide money. So they were at 25. We forced them to cut it back. The minimum they will go to is 15. So you'll see that on, I think, the most updated contract, it's 15.
And what do they do?
Essentially, when Mrs. Marsenko had to reach out and get clarification and help design out on certain pieces of which are the right fit for what we're trying to do, they're there for that. Scott needed some technology-wise on how to upload and bring pieces together. So,
Have they been pretty fair this year with the consulting hours? They're not like tacking on extra costs
no.
so far for the current year?
We told them we're not interested.
Okay.
So, we told Kristen and we told Scott, get it done on these hours. These are the hours
All
we
right.
have to figure it out. So, and they
Anything from you, Mike?
No?
Mr. Wolf, sorry. And we will, that's on the committee of the whole addendum, and it's not being voted on today, it's being voted on at the end of the month, right?
Right. You have to the 30th to act.
I saw that, yeah, so we're good. Okay.
The other item standing as, I won't go one by one, but feel free to field any questions you have. Dr. Serafino's here for her pieces. I can handle some of the other pieces. So if there's any questions you have on the standing items, these are all things we presented and discussed on almost every meeting. There aren't any particular new updates that we have going on. Anything significant, but we'll let us share it. Any questions? Answers?
So, as an interesting comment, happenstance that they had the builders awards a couple weeks ago, and my wife she's a construction manager. I had to go along. Ran into a gentleman. I think he was from a engineering company, and I told my wife knew him from professionally, and we started talking live on the Danny Boone School Board, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I've been talking with Preston and Brett about your apprenticeship program." I'm like, "Okay, yeah." So we were talking about that, and just a small world. We had just spoke about it like a week before that, and I ran into this guy just out of hundreds of people that were there.
The needle's really moving on that project, whether it's internships and or apprenticeships. We were, I think I told you before, kind of proving the concept, which was other districts had proven it, but for us, about 2-3 members, our apprenticeships, internships. We're at 25 right now, and growing. And that we're starting to get to. It's expanding so rapidly that we're going to have to look at some staffing, not adding staff, but how we're tasking people to continue to support that work, because it is really, you credit to 2 people, Dr. Cooper, because he pushed hard on what about these other kids that were missing, that group that didn't figure it out in 10th grade for CTC, kind of by middle of 11th grade, started to figure it out. And then Mrs. Marsenko has been out there, knocking on the doors, reaching out to people and making this thing happen. So it's always best to attach someone's name to it, so then they're accountable for it, and she's done a very good job with it. So yeah, I think it's a very, very good positive this year so far.
Any of the other items that you want to, like, the Cliff Notes version of where we are on them? I think we got a lot of those. We got updates on a lot of them last month. Somehow the month of October went by really fast. I still think it's last week. All right. So if we anything from the members of the public? Okay. So it is 6:18, and we're gonna adjourn the meeting.